Question two, a natural transition is, okay, so you built it. Well, why has this not been built yet? So this is a really important question every investor should ask a founder during a pitch. Some investors frame this question as, why now? A traditional classic question, which is similar, but I'm asking, why has this not been built yet, as a slightly different spin on the why now question that better relates to Initialized Capital's thesis. So a strong answer to, why this product hasn't been built yet would be that it's just a boring industry to most people. The canonical example for Initialized portfolio is Flexport. I mean, hearing founder and CEO Ryan Peterson talk about the shipping process and how many regulators and stakeholders there are tracking every little detail of every package in such a slow and archaic industry just gives me a headache. I mean, it sounds like such a challenging, frustrating, and boring industry to operate in, which is, why we've never had a company bringing effective software to shipping as Flexport has done. It's not that exciting. People want to build the next Airbnb or Uber. That's a lot more interesting. But as an investor, going after the interesting problems that have already been solved, the Airbnbs and the Ubers, that doesn't really make me any money because those industries are already so saturated. Uber, Airbnb, Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and so on are exceptional products and juggernauts with millions or billions of users. So how are you going to be so much better than them with a minuscule fraction of the resources they have to take on their market share? That's basically impossible. And so that's why Initialized loves to back founders that make boring industries exciting. There's opportunity there. It's not saturated. You could be the company that goes in there and irrigates this terrible industry with software and make it something exciting. Current Initialized partner Alda has an interesting quote on this. She once said, quote, "If you can take a boring industry and make it exciting, that shows a lot of skill. And that skill can translate into more fundraising, into recruiting, into business development partnerships. And it actually is a talent," end quote. So Ryan Peterson made Flexport cool. Or, said another way, and in an even crazier way, Ryan Peterson made freight shipping cool. And, don't get me wrong, I think ports look really cool. I still have like a childlike awe when I see the massive scale of the operations. But then my head begins to spin just thinking about how this massive operation can possibly be efficient. It must be a brutal industry to operate in. But Flexport seems like a great place to work because they're taking this boring and disorganized industry and bringing software to it to solve interesting and really challenging and really important problems, which is pretty exciting. So if I'm a partner at Initialized and I see a founder come in and talk about tackling a major problem in a super boring industry that no one wants to touch, then I'm feeling very bullish. If you can muster up the strength to go against ocean freight or workers' compensation or HR onboarding processes and showcase your knowledge in the industry and passion for disrupting it, then I'm likely very inclined to invest. And so this goes into the second answer of this question I'd sort of be looking for about, why has no one built in this industry yet? Which is the founder that's pitching me is showcasing some anti-mimetic thinking. And we touched on this in the last episode as a big reason why Garry Tan was so bullish on Coinbase before anyone else. In the last essay I wrote, quote, "Well, Brian Armstrong, founder and CEO of Coinbase, believed that this coin with less than a $150 million market cap, Bitcoin, could eventually become a new gold standard and the foundation of a global currency without government intervention." That's quite the anti-mimetic thinking there. The US dollar, the euro, the Chinese yuan have trillions of dollars in circulation, backed by decades of staying power, government and militaristic support, and global user adoption. How is this digital coin, known by less than 1 million people in the world, supposed to uproot that? So that's certainly an extremely difficult question, but one Garry was willing to invest in Brian to solve. And since VC is such a power law industry, power law as in many losers, few massive winners, you have to be truly exceptional to be a multi-billion-dollar company, to be one of those massive winners. And like I just said, no one wants to back another Airbnb or Instagram. It's been done. We need something new. Or, if you think about it today, no one wants to back another Coinbase because it's already been done. We don't need another cryptocurrency exchange. But in 2012, there was barely anything like Coinbase and nothing nearly as user-friendly as what Brian Armstrong was able to build. And so funding a company trying to be the next Coinbase is a lot less appealing than funding a company taking on a boring industry that no one else is building in. I mean, founder of Initialized, Garry said, quote, "We often ask ourselves, what do we believe that no one else believes? We ask the founders that too. If there isn't one of those things embedded in an anti-mimetic aspect to the business, often we don't want to fund it," end quote. So I'm looking for anti-mimetic founders. I'm looking for original thinkers. I'm looking for weird people who get excited at the opportunity of disrupting a boring industry and working within a boring industry, dealing with all the headaches for 10 or 15 years to turn into something incredible. If you go to a boring industry where no one else is building in, that means the playing field is wide open. And I can back a strong player to take that industry by storm and beat the incumbents and beat the competition to the finish line and before they even start. So anti-mimesis essentially gives a startup first mover advantages, which in industries with network effects as in the product gets better as more people use it. Instagram is more interesting because there are more people posting pictures and videos on it. So industries with high network effects and high switching costs. Switching costs is in you invest so much personally into the product or into the service that it costs so much money to switch. Classic example is using AWS as your cloud computing software. It would just cost so much and take so long to switch over to Microsoft Azure if you wanted to. So that's high switching costs. So a startup with first mover advantages can beat competition to achieve network effects and achieve high switching costs, which is ultra valuable and can build you a major moat. So founders, try not to build another social network or another dating app. Try to build something exceptionally unique and ideally a boring industry, and make that industry exciting to show that you can attract exceptional builders to work on that product with you. If you can do that, I guarantee you'll at least land a meeting with Initialized Capital if you take that route. And I'd assume you'd land a meeting with a lot of other investors as well. So again, question number 2 was, why has this not been built yet?